Let's head into the paper review now and see the headlines across Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio the CEO of CKN News, Chris Ndengwandu. Chris, it's nice to have you join me right now.
It's nice to be here,
Great,
Mike.
Great. And we also have here Sheson Kwade, Chartered Accountant and Public Affairs Analyst. Sheson, good morning.
Morning. Man.
It's nice to see all of you in the studio now after a while.
Of course.
Great.
Great. Thank God it's Friday.
It's all right. Let's begin with Blueprint newspaper. Blueprint says 75 elders slaughtered one night at Goza Abattoir. Ndume is quoted at saying this. And camels now used to smuggle weapons to Nigeria. Matawali is saying that as the governor. Troops arrest 155 bandits, kill over 25. Senate seeks more funds for the Northeast Development Commission. And 410 Darussalam members surrender. Troops burst terrorist bomb factory. And that's in Nasarawa State. Okay, those are talking about security issues in there. That's Blueprint newspaper. Daily Times is next now. A new dawn in Southeast as Akanu Ibiam International Airport opens on Sunday. This is sharing news for those who intend to fly around. Okay, that's from there. Let's go to the News Direct. Submit your proposals for CAMA 2020 amendment. Oshibajo tells religious leaders. Submit your proposals for CAMA 2020 amendment. Okay. From there, let's go to the Daily Trust newspaper. Troops raid terrorist cell in Nasarawa State. 410 suspects surrender and bomb-making factory destroyed. Group dislodged in Niger 11 years ago. And why radical groups are re-emerging. Experts are trying to offer some perspectives to these. And I think my guests will be interested in talking about this as we open discussion shortly. From there, let's go to the national economy that says federal government set to release targeted funds for capital projects, restates commitment to funding 2020 budget despite contraction. And Nigeria's economy not doing badly. As the Senate President is saying that. Okay. All right, from there, let's go to the Leadership Friday or Friday Leadership. Only National Assembly amendment can resolve the CAMA controversy, as the presidency is saying this, seeing that the law, the bill has been signed into law by the president, so it becomes law. Any amendment has to go through the National Assembly. That's what the explanation is saying there. And promises to end Southern Kaduna crisis soon, as troops burst Darussalam terrorist bomb factory in Nasarawa State. Okay, that's Leadership Friday, or Friday Leadership. Okay, gentlemen, let's talk about the issue on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust says troops raid terrorist cell in Nasarawa State and 410 suspects surrender to the troops. And one interesting writer there says group dislodged in Niger 11 years ago. And they regrouped in Nasarawa State. Well, let me start with you, Chris. I wonder, when it comes to security issues, of course, the military, all security agencies are working hard and doing whatever they can do to ensure that Nigerians sleep safely. But dislodging a terrorist organization or a group, an insurgent group or any kind of group that threatens security from one area, and then they regroup in another area, how troubling is this to you?
It's troubling, Mike, because what we have seen is a resurgence of these groups. Don't forget that as well how Boko Haram started in Borno State as more of a religious group. Then, after the killing of his leader, he now metamorphosed into a terrorist group. And that is what we're having, the problem we're having now. And now, the same thing is happening in Nasarawa State. And don't forget also, a few years back, there were also some in Kogi State also, where some terrorist group were seen to be producing bombs and the likes. So my concern is that for them to have about 400 members or suspects that were arrested at that point goes to show the magnitude of the problem we're having. That is just those that we're able to pick. But within the vicinities and within the states and the rest of them, you will know that they will still have other members. And what do they want to do with bombs? That's my problem. What do they want to do with bombs? But I will commend our security agencies, and that is where we've been talking about a synergy between the security agencies and also the communities. Okay? We can only get through information through the communities, because definitely the army or the military or whichever organization that were able to bust this didn't just get that information. They must have gotten information from certain people who said, there are some people we are suspecting here. So what we need to do is continue to build the capacity of trust between our security agencies and the various communities and Nigerians, so that they can be able to volunteer information and know fully whether whatever information they are giving will be utilized properly without it being traced back to them. Because it becomes a big problem when I give, you pass on an information only for you to realize that the same information you pass to the security agents will not get to the so-called people that you're talking.
And they know you are the one who gave
and
out
that becomes a problem.
All right.
Yeah, so, but it's a good development.
Okay. Sheson, the use of bombs and all of those, improvised, all those devices and all of that is quite troubling, where it was the presence of Boko Haram that we saw these in a larger scale. Although we saw the concept of bombing, some level of explosive issues in the Niger Delta in the days of the militancy there. But as it is now, do you see a link from what you have, your interaction with some security agencies? Do you think there are links between all these terrorist organizations here and there, because their mode of operation seem to have some semblance of similarity in some areas, especially talking about the use of bombs? Yeah,
if you look at those security, the terrorists, you discover that the normal way they converge is that some people that are power intoxicated moves from a particular group and go and form another one. So that is why we observe that their pattern of operation is almost similar. Everybody wants to get power at all costs, and possibly they are looking at the hierarchy and nothing is coming forth. So because if he or she feels he has a skill, he's been a strategic person in that particular group and he's not getting the necessary attention needed, he forms another one. And that's why their mode of operation seems to be very similar, using bomb. But I want to say something about this issue of security. We need to just go straight, like CKN said, to make sure there is a synergy between the community. Thank God for the approval from the presidency on this issue of community policing. Although there are issues here and there, forth and back, it's going to be managed by this, it's going to be...
Who is going to pay and fund?
The fact remains that security is very paramount. For any economy to develop, there must be peace. You can only invest in a peaceful environment. Otherwise, you discover that there won't be any development. Look at the Northeast. We are just pumping money without recouping anything. Even some of the infrastructure that are being put in place, day by day, are just being destroyed. So until we find a lasting peace to some of these things, and it's going to be synergy. It's beyond the physical fighting now. It's about the like kind of informant. You see, for every successful thing, there must be an information. So somebody gives you a tip. Some of the things that you see coming out, there's always a tip. So,
like they say, security is all about information.
That's just it. Once you're able to have the right information that this is what they are doing, even those guys that are eating back at the military, there will be some information that they killed about 50, about 70 armies. They too have information, possibly among the military, that will tip them that this is the direction you're going. So once you have information about the movement of anything, you definitely be successful with some of those things. So we want to encourage the military to have a synergy with the people in, and let them build that confidence in them, for them to be able to give, because those militants too are not from, they are not from another planet. There are people around who have studied the terrain of things, who knows how to move here and there. And once you're able to nip them by the bud, you just have a safety all around.
All right, CKN, when it comes to the capacity and the ability of the Nigerian security agent, that has never been in doubt. Yeah. What area do you think that we should capitalize on, seeing the fact that the capacity could be part of the comparative advantage that the Nigerian security agents have?
Number one, intelligence gathering. Remember that the United States of America a few weeks ago gave certain information to the West Africa and Nigerian authorities. Our intelligence gathering must be swift, must be accurate, and the database must be effectively used. Then that should be also information sharing among the security agents, because remember the Minister of Defense some time ago said that even within the military hierarchy, we don't have that kind of synergy. Army is not trusting Navy, Navy is not trusting Air Force, and the rest of them, and that is where some of these issues. So if we can have that, that is where the office of the National Security Advisor comes into play. Very, very important. That office is very, very key.
To harmonize all of those.
To be able to harmonize all that and bring that to force. Then we should take the fight. We shouldn't always wait for them to hit. We should take the fight to them. Just like what the Chadians did some months back. And you saw what happened. So they moved away from that point and moved to our own side. Our military are trying. It's not that they are not trying. It's not of lack of trying. But the fact that we can still do more. And good enough, we're having more equipment to be able to. But we have to understand this is not a conventional war, unlike what it used to be. It has been a conventional war. The Nigerian Army are very good at that. We've been to Liberia, we've been to Congo. I've been hearing about Nigerian Army doing this right even when I was a kid. So it's something they can do.
Yeah.
But the fact is that what we are facing currently is not what they are used to. So then there should be that level of confidence between them and the people, Nigerians. Yeah. So once we have that connect and not disconnect, then we will achieve a lot.
All right, quickly before we go in less than a minute, the point there is CKN said that this is not a conventional war, and certainly that is established. But this is about almost 11 years that we've been fighting this insurgency. Is it a good enough time for the Nigerian security agents to get used to this unconventional war?
Yeah, you know, like you said, it's not a conventional type, but it's formed on ideology. Until we attack the basis, why people are going into that, it may pretty be difficult to defeat it. So if we address it from the root, why are these people agitating and keep attacking here and there? Once that is we are able to settle that, then we experience peace all around. But if we take it from the up, thinking that until we attack, until we kill them, that ideology that they have formed and shared among themselves keeps growing. You might just drop the idea into somebody thinking that he doesn't believe in it, but he will just leave, think about it, and go ahead and do something radical with that idea he has. So we must attack the idea that these people have, why they are agitating. Once that is nipped on the bud, definitely will dislodge majority of those people.
All right.
All right, let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the blueprint. 75 elders slaughtered one at Gwoza Abattoir in the camels now used to smuggle weapons to Nigeria. Matawale. Troops arrest 155 bandits, kill over 25, send 6 more funds for NEDC. 410 Dar es Salaam members surrender troops burst terrorist bomb factory. All right, we move to the front page of the Daily Times now. New dawn in Southeast as Akanu Ibiam International Airport opens on Sunday. On the front page of the News Direct, submit your proposals for CAMA 2020 amendment, Oshibajo tells religious leaders. And to the front page of the Daily Trust, troops raid terrorist cell in Nasarawa. 410 suspects surrender. Bomb-making factory destroyed. Group dislodged in Niger 11 years ago. While radical groups are re-emerging. Experts. To the front page of the National Economy now. The federal government set to release targeted funds for capital projects. And finally, on the front page of the Leadership newspaper, Only NAS amendment can resolve CAMA controversy. That's the presidency speaking there. Promises to end Southern Kaduna crisis soon as troops burst Darul Salam terrorist bomb factory in Nasarawa. And I'm certain my guests will be interested in the stories talking about the CAMA controversy. We look at it on the front page of the News Director as well, where the Vice President is telling religious leaders to bring up their proposal for an amendment for the CAMA 2020. Because one of the statements he made and one of the reports we found is that he said that pastors like him are not afraid of accountability. And I wonder if that really is the issue here, even though he's proposing they should come up with their own proposal. I'll start with you, CKN.
Yes, is another window of opportunity for those aggrieved with the law to send in their proposal. And the question I continue to ask is that when the law was being made, were they not asked, or didn't they make their contribution?
There was a hearing.
Okay. I know there could have been a hearing, or there should have been a hearing, or there was a hearing. So
okay, whichever one. A hearing, there should have been, or whichever way.
So, that has to be. So, if they were not satisfied with some provisions of that law, then I think this is an opportunity that's been given them by the Vice President so that they can be able to put in their... But the fact is that is there the CAMA, the way the name goes, even CAMA,
CAMA.
You know, is it necessary? To me, I think it's necessary. In as much as, and probably some of them have not even taken time to really read into what I have been seeing some of them saying, and I've seen so many videos of some of the GOs, as it were. Oh, you are coming to take over my church. You are coming to take over my church. I will not allow you. Come and see. Come and see. I will
that clause where of us saying that if there is some sort of misappropriation or anything, that the CAMA would, there'll be some other person outside of the church coming in to take control.
Vero, is accountability. Once it goes, and I was hearing some of them saying, the church I built. The church I built. It's not about the church you built. You didn't build a church. Because if you look at it, the fact that you have congregations coming, you have a lot of people coming. There are some of these churches that have about 100,000 people attending their churches on a weekly basis. And some of those people make contribution, whether in terms of your normal offering or whatever and the rest of them. And they now say that for there to be accountability, and it's not like they are just coming to ask for, there must be, that provision states that somebody must trigger that clause within the church. If you see that something is going wrong and the rest of them, they just say, okay, let us look at your
But
books.
does it also mean that the churches cannot handle the situation themselves?
Yes, but there have been instances where, even in the United Kingdom, look at it, there are some instances that about 2 years or some years back, one or two popular Nigerian churches were hammered by the United Kingdom government. If you remember, I don't want to mention, I'm not going to mention any name. And it's because of this issue. Yes, they are known as NGOs and they're not supposed to pay taxes, but that does not necessarily mean that millions and millions of funds being put into the organization cannot be accounted for. So, but my happiness is that the government is giving them an opportunity now. And the last part of the problem is that even the Church of God are not even united within themselves. Some of the pastors, the organizations are solely divided. They are not politicized, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And that itself is making it difficult for them to speak with one voice on the issue.
That could be a challenge moving forward for them. Now that there is a window, so I wonder if that's what you see as well, stemming from what he's saying. If there is a division within the organization, be it CAN, be it PFN, would the division he is seeing be a problem for them now that there is some sort of a window because the president is doing only an amendment can bring out any change to this act that has already been passed into law?
Remember that saying that say a house that divides
is divided against
itself cannot stand.
Yeah.
You see, if there is no unity amongst you, there is no how you can put a position paper before any government for unity to come on board. You see, we have different fractions, different segments. And the question we keep asking is that what is the basis of having these spiritual houses, you discover that for government to actually put their eyes to it, so many people are already turning it into a business venture, and it's becoming difficult for accountability. And you discover that within the church, you see people fighting for position. If God has called you, I don't think there should be struggle to lead. And if what we are looking at is that give us, because the major bone of contention is that the supervisory minister should be defined, so that you not bring somebody who doesn't understand the basics. And we have called for this. The religious people should get involved in politics.
That's what a lot of persons are saying.
Because if you are not involved, my people will say in their adage, you are not there when they are sharing it. You said the way they share it.
But there are people who go to churches who are at the National Assembly, who are also part of those making this decision. What are they saying?
How many of those people that go to churches that are there are committed members? Some of them are just like, some of them don't even have confidence in those their so-called leaders that they call pastor. So they are just there all in the name of, I just need to go to church. So you must get involved in activities. And I'm very happy that the government, because I won't say the vice now, the government is giving an open door for them to make their position known. What we seek for is that let them unite. If they continue to divide, PFN is talking like this, CAN is talking like this one is talking like this, definitely we will not have a concession for us to move on. And once there is that division, definitely there won't be a concession for us to arrive at. So we want to encourage them, come together in unity, make your position known, and way forward, get involved in activities. Like he said, there was hearing. You would have made your position known, you would have countered it before it even goes to us. At least at the House of Assembly, they will read it once, second reading, third reading, before it was sent to the president for assentment. And up to that level, nobody could identify anything that is faulty until it is signed. But you know the process, like they said, now that it has been signed into law,
it's only an amendment.
It must go back to the National Assembly for debate. If it gets back there and you don't have your representative or people that will support what you're putting in place, it will not hold any water. So way forward, let's get involved in the activity of things. Politics, they might claim is dirty. It's not. But it is getting involved to get those things that is supposed to be done at the right people for the benefit of everyone.
There was something that a lot of persons also talked about when the CAMA 2020 came out, the issue of trust. That's the reaction we are seeing is as a result of perhaps abuse of trusts perhaps on the part of government, and so they are not trusting government to will be transparent in its dealing with the organizations, be it NGO or churches. But now that they have an open window, do you think they'll also trust government to see through this with this window it is giving them?
They should be able to trust government. It's very funny that when they established the church, they went to the government to register it. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
They went, by going to CAC, you have gone to the government to register.
To register?
Yes, because most of the churches got themselves registered with CAC. And within that provision of CAC, there are certain things that you are supposed to drop in your trustees and the board of trustees and all the people and all that. That is part of registration. And within that, they are not saying that apart from that, let us see some level of accountability. They are not saying bring your money to us. They are not saying we are going to take money. Don't forget there has always been this issue of should religious institutions pay tax. You know that has been a running battle for a long time.
For a long time.
For a long time. That is it, NGOs like religious bodies, there are some of these churches that are making billions and more than, in terms of assets, more than many multinational corporations. Yes. Across the globe, they do. They pay taxes. If you go to the UK, you go to the United States and the rest of them, they do. But I don't know the real situation here. You can say, yes, I pay individual tax. And if some money aspect of it, I don't know what. But I will continue to say that until they get themselves united and speak. And why is this that it has to be with churches? I don't know. Does CAMA also affect the the mosques.
Of course.
That's what I,
It
if
does.
you
There was an association, I think, Huriwa also, that also supports.
Yes, so that's
on
what I'm saying. Why is it that is this Christian that are
perhaps
crying?
they are the ones that are more vocal.
So why is it that is the Christians that are crying more? Because if it involves all religions, even the one in my village, the ones that is not, you know, we have our traditional
Yes,
institutions also.
of course.
Yes, there should be a part of that also. So it's not about churches or about. So why is it that it's only the Christians that are crying so much? And I'm not hearing so much from the Islamic faith. And
I just mentioned an association.
They say they are in support.
Yes.
Yes, but that's why I'm saying opposition. So, but let them just be assured, let them rest assured that most often than not, as a government will not sit down and see institutions, irrespective of whatever you call it. It's just like schools. Look at what is happening in the University of Lagos now. University of Lagos is an institution, okay? It's a school. But there are certain infractions that the government noticed, and it has set up an investigative panel to look at that institution. You understand what I'm saying? That is the part of government. But the government also has to be very, very sincere.
That's the aspect.
The government also has to be sincere that there is sincerity of purpose, that what we are doing is not to witch hunt or to hand weak the churches. You understand what I'm saying? So in order to with a bet, I think it is the best way to go, and let them go there and table whatever grievances they have.
Gentlemen, we have to leave the conversation here now. Thank you so much, CKN. Thank you, Sheson Kwali, for your time
Thank you for
on the show this morning.